We've got a call from Catherine in Houston, Texas. Hey, Catherine, how can I help?
Hey, Christy. So I'm fixing to leave my corporate job to focus on my business full time. I know it's the next step. I'm just a little nervous about getting distracted from being home more and having all this extra time. So could you please give me advice on just how to stay productive and make this transition?
This is great. So first, Catherine, let's back it up for 2 seconds and let's make sure, are you ready to do this? Meaning, can your business support you? Is this something where this is either additional income for your family or the side business is big enough where it's not going to be this very stressful transition because you're trying to live on less money than you actually have? So what's going on there? Are you actually ready to make this transition?
Yes. So my husband, he's going to continue to work full time, and so we're going to live off his benefits and his salary, and we're going to continue. It's a farm business, so we're going to continue to grow our farm, and I'm going to focus on it full time. So yes, we're comfortable, we've saved, and we are ready for this.
Awesome. Okay, how long have you had your business?
It will be a year coming up this month.
Okay, awesome. So here's what I want to advise you to do, because this is a great question. And I'm really glad that you're even asking, because the fact that you're asking, Catherine, shows that you're aware that while it can be exciting to work from home, it can also be very tempting to, well, not do much at home because you don't have a boss you have to report to. You don't have quote unquote work hours. So I love that you're asking, because you're already have a heightened sense that that could be a temptation. As simple as it sounds, here's what I want you to do. And I actually teach this in my book, Business Boutique, which if you don't have it, Catherine, we'll send it to you and make sure you have it. But it's really important when you transfer to home, where you're working from home, that you have a couple things. Number one, you need a dedicated space. And I know this is so basic, but when we approach a home-based business, we tend to think of, oh, this is so great. I can work on the couch, or I can work in the kitchen, or I can work in my bedroom. But what happens is, because you can work anywhere in the house, you do work anywhere in the house, and then it always feels like your business is taking over your life. You don't have a home life. You can never relax because the business follows you everywhere, into every room, on every sofa. It also feels like that your life is always interrupting the business. Because why? Because you're on the sofa and your kids are running up to you and they're asking you questions. Mom, braid my hair. Mom, play puzzles with me, right? So I want you to have a dedicated space. This is good for you to know when you go in this space, whether it's a home office or a craft room or a dining room turned office. When you have this space, you go there and you work. And then when you leave that space, you get permission to be off work. It's also a really important visual cue for your family to know when mommy's in her workspace, she's working and we don't bother her. And when she's not in her workspace, she's not working. We can ask her questions, that type of thing. So the first thing you need is a set space that you work. The second thing I will encourage you to have, and it can be loose, but I want you to have a schedule. I want you to have work hours. Now, the best part of going into business for yourself, and certainly working from home, is that you can set your work schedule to work around your life versus always having to adapt your life around your 9-to-5 corporate job type of thing. So if you want to wake up and work out, or you want to wake up and walk your kids to school, or you want to take a 2-hour lunch because you want to go shopping, you can build your work hours around that, and it can reflect what your priorities and interests are in working from home. But you do need a set schedule. Because if you don't have working hours, Catherine, it's going to be really tempting to say, oh, I'll work on the business when there's time left over. But what happens? Catherine, there's never time left over, right? There's never time left over. So if you approach it like a real job, you have a set space and a set schedule, set hours, you're much more likely to be productive when you're working from home. And again, I know that sounds so basic, but if you do those things, you'll get a whole lot more done. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
And one more thing, Catherine. When you're working from home, I'll encourage you as often as possible to quote unquote get ready. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to get all fancy and put on high heels, but put on normal clothes, get out of your pajamas. Research shows that we are much more productive when we get ready, even when working from home, because it clicks our mind into working gear. And so we're more productive in those working hours than if we were to kind of stay in our pajamas and kind of get distracted and do some laundry and do other things. Then we feel like we worked, but we don't really have much to show for it. So a set space, a set schedule, and take it a step further, get yourself ready as much as possible. And I think you'll definitely get a lot done. But I'm excited for you, Catherine. This is awesome. This is a huge step to transition to get to be home and have that flexibility and set your own hours and call your own shots. So I'm proud of you. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for calling.